Is it a Section 8 housing? Is this a professional type housing? Is it student housing? I understand it, and each one of these types of residences has a different traffic flow. It has a different rhythm to it. You know, some of these nicer working class type apartments, people are going to get out of there at 7:30 in the morning. They're going to come back, start filtering back at 4:45 to 5:30. So you want to be wrapped up at that point and working. Student properties, they're going to, roll out of bed at 9, 10 o'clock, when they get out of the rack and be filtering through. So your patterns are going to be different on that, and they're going to be on their phones.
They're not going to pay attention to caution tape?
Yeah, they're not going to pay attention. They're going to walk right through your caution tape. Remember, and nowadays also with more online classes going on, I mean, it's crazy how much the students aren't actually even going to campus anymore. Look at items like, Section 8 housing. They're not going to work. That's why they're in the Section 8 housing. And somebody had just, on the academy, it was just somebody, he had somebody actually getting up in his truck, and these, you'll have guys just, jamming you up for money, and the Section 8, I have mentioned, I've done some Section 8 work, and I've actually had a problem with some of the residents get out there and almost try to put themselves in danger zones to work the system on that. And it's something to consider. They think that if they get bleach on their shirt, they're that's a Gucci. No, it's not. No, it's not. Here's $20. See ya. Bye. Let's see. Best way to avoid the public is to not work around the public. Is there a better time to do this project? Always think about when is the best time to do that project. I hear so many times contractors going, well, I don't work on the weekends. I'm going to do that. By God, I'm going to do that project whenever I want to do that project. They're going to work on my... No. Stop. Go do houses. Do residential. Don't do commercial properties, if that's your mindset. Safety officer. Have a dedicated safety officer. This is Florida A&M University here. And I put this picture on here for a very specific reason. First off, let's make a safe, and these are not OSHA rules or regulations necessarily. This is Ray's rules. These are what we do at Spray Wash Exterior Cleaning, and just stuff to think about. Safe spaces around your vehicle. If you can actually cordon off an area to where the public can't walk in it with safety tape, it gives you kind of a marshalling area for gear. It's going to really help you out there. It keeps the public away from your stuff, keeps them out of harm's way. Employees, safety colors. If you notice, all my guys have on the fluorescent. I love white shirts. I like the black shirts because they don't show dirt, but whenever we're in public spaces, I strongly suggest the guys wear their neon yellow shirts, and if they don't, then they're going to have to put a safety vest on. Caution tape, use caution tape. Cones, use cones. If you're working at night, get 4-way flashers installed on your vehicles. Whenever the inevitable problem of having conflict with somebody from the public occurs, at least you've got in your defense, what part didn't you notice, ma'am, before you walked into my bleach spray? Did you not see the cones? Did you not feel the caution tape that you walked through? Did you not see the guys in the bright yellow orange jerseys?
Or hear the loud noises? Yeah,
exactly. Or hear the 800 decibels from the Honda 690. I mean, which part of it? So, you're protecting yourself as much as you are the public on things like this. Umbrellas, ingress and egress. Get yourself a nice big golf umbrella if you are doing apartment complexes, breezeways, or public spaces where you've got to be walking around the door. Have your safety officer, if somebody has to get out, instead of them running through your construction zone that's slick and soapy, just, ma'am, let me escort you out, get under this umbrella with me and walk. Because I have seen guys, college students, run up through breezes that we're doing, oh man, I'm fine, I'm good, and run and bust their tail, in a pile of soapy water. And sometimes, this is your job site, sometimes you just have to put your foot down and say no, I tell my guys, if they see a college student about to walk into imminent harm on Florida State University, tackle them. Literally, wrap them up. I'd rather do that because, a lot of our customers, we've got 3 or 4 whales on there. And part of and when I say whales, they're big accounts and they're 6-figure a year accounts for us. And it's because we do practices like this. All it takes 1 or 2 complaints, now all of a sudden we've got a problem. So, head on a swivel, safety guy needs to be looking at all, it's just this. I find on some of these larger projects, I'll take my guys and literally tell them, you stand here, because what happens with a lot of guys out there, they start migrating. Hey man, did you see that game last night? That was pretty cool. Yeah. Man, I can't believe how they got that. Referees blew that call, and now all of a sudden I've got somebody, walking under 20% bleach out there and screaming and yelling because they're talking. So, you've got your employees doing this. You stand here. If y'all got to talk about the game, use the walkie-talkies. Looking up at my safety officer right here, he's up, pointing up, looking at them. He is the world's worst safety officer because hey, I missed the spot over there. He's not actually looking for where the threats could occur. Yes, sir?
Ray, what's your practice on employees having headphones in, listening to music while they work, particularly on roofs and things of this nature?
It's a really bad idea, but I don't necessarily stop my guys. On a roof, I've never had a problem with that before. In the parking garages, I see them doing it all the time. In a public space, my guys are really good about it, and I strongly encourage them not to do it. I notice my night guys doing it more than my day guys do. But if you've got to do it, I think there should be one headphone in, and you should be able to listen out for the other one. You look at this way. I've got a walkway to the left, a walkway to the right, and a walkway down the middle of that. So I've got 3 different thread areas that people could come from, and he's wasting his time pointing up there at a window. More ideas on public safety. Local fire codes. Can the doors be locked? Some municipalities actually make you put signs up there on a building that say, during business hours, these doors must remain open. And you literally cannot lock them. If you can, lock them if you're allowed to. Sometimes you're not going to be able to lock a door. If it's an area, one of the things we did, I did a safety video last week at the hospital. I can't lock those doors, but what I did was put yellow X's of caution tape over there and cones in front of it, and made it look as visually unappealing to go through, where the people think the door's broken or something. So make a visual marker, even though I can't lock that door. Best way is to lock the door, but if you can't, make them find a different way. I know lots of guys, we've done this in the past, don't have any right now, but laminated signs. Pressure washing, please take care, please watch your step. We are pressure washing out there. A poster board. And then we're talking, gosh, I don't want to go out and get a $30 sign made. It's a $3,000 project. Get a $30 sign made. Don't trust your barricades. Don't trust them. This is where you have your safety officer. So whenever you get the student who's just, they're not going to see it until it's too late. They're going to be in your work zone. Student properties are absolutely some of the worst to work on because of what I mentioned. They're just heads, or just their heads aren't where their heads need to be. And this is our future. Keep some dollars handy on you. I have saved myself a lot of headaches and complaints to managers by giving $20, $40 here and there whenever somebody has, I feel, purposefully gotten, bleached out or bleach on them. We've also told some people to go take a fly-in leap too. We've had, oh man, you messed up my shirt. Yeah, we also told you not to walk there. We literally told you, ma'am, do not walk over here. This is a construction zone. We are spraying bleach. That's the other thing. Your safety officer needs to explain to people, you can't walk here because we are spraying bleach. Comprende? And I've had people still walk through. Oh no, I've got to get there. Okay, I'm not responsible. Sometimes you have to put your foot down. Part of having a good relationship with your property managers, facility managers, they know you're not a dodo out there and that you have done these safety protocols. A lot of times they'll back you up. Property managers love it. One policy we do have is no cell phone for our guys. Leave your phone in the truck for my employees. You can check it once an hour. But I do not want my employees on cell phones. Flagman. If you're ever working on a public street, yes sir.
They're using walkie-talkies then if they don't have their phones to back and forth with
If it's a big enough project where we need, walkie-talkies, I'd rather have them on the walkie-talkies than I would the cell phones. And the cell phones for lots of reasons, because next thing it's like the cell phones are great for my convenience. How fast text messaging works too. I mean, heck, I can bounce a text message off to somebody before they can make a call, up in the lift. But then invariably the girlfriend texts and, ooh, ESPN has that highlight, and yeah, just no, stop. Think about getting a flagman for a job if you're working on a public street. Great extra little body because, we're on Monroe Street in Tallahassee, which is a state road. We're coned off on there, and I still wanted to have this guy because, you got some swing on this lift out here and starts to edge out into traffic a little bit. A day laborer can do that. You can make that a temp employee. It doesn't have to, anybody can do that, I guess is what I'm saying. That was fun building. Constant communication. Crews should be talking to each other constantly. I like the two-way radios. That's actually ours at the shop. I think we have like 5 of them. Beware of chemical drift. I tell my guys this all the time. Whenever you're spraying, especially on a building like that, I'm spraying bleach, and you can see these areas. This actually took a little bit of bleach to get this off. Right in there, we had some of the mildew growing. Pick and choose your days to work. I mean, if it's blowing 12 miles an hour out there, is it really worth the liability that you're going to have? I mean, that's on the busiest road in Tallahassee in the downtown area. I'm not going to just spray whenever it's windy because, it's going to carry for 300-400 feet. There's been times we've had to work down there, and I've literally had guys on other blocks, watching with the radios in hand saying, I've got somebody coming, stop spraying, stop spraying, stop spraying, and it takes, a few seconds for it to get to the ground. So that's, again, the head on the swivel thing, man. I mean, you got to see them coming from down the sidewalk and start, getting on the thing and telling them, stop spraying, let me deal with this guy. Fun job in Tallahassee right here, and this is something that's one of these things that can be just a true nightmare for you. This is a hotel. It's a Residence Inn. On this side of the hotel, this is a corner property. This is Martin Luther King, and then here on Macomb Street, this is Gaines Street over on this side. It's a mixed-use hotel. Along this side of the building are businesses, independent businesses that occupy the same space. Residence Inn, if anybody's not familiar with the Residence Inn, it's an extended stay type hotel. Those people have different hours than regular hotel customers. regular hotel, whenever you're washing a hotel, you come in at 9:30, you get set up 9:30ish or so, you let the morning crowd leave, you get wrapped up and get out of there at 4:30 or so before the evening guests check in. Something like this, they're typically there for a week or more. They'll get on their own kind of rhythm of they may, all those rooms have kitchens in them, so they may want to come back and cook themselves some lunch or something. So literally you never know when the people will come back to the extended stay hotels. You can see my safety guy right there because I've got the pass through to the parking lot on this. We've got safety cone. Oh, and there was a bus stop right here too. So just nightmare property. You go loaded for bear on those things. You just have to. You just have to. But demonstrate that to the manager. This is one of these we get top dollar for doing it, and there's guys that'll do it for less. I've probably washed this hotel in 8 years. I mean, if they have washing to do, they call us multiple times a year, and it's because there's people that would do it for a lot cheaper, but we've demonstrated that we're the best for the job on there, and they don't mind paying for it. My rule of public work, get in, get out, get paid. This is our airport right here. We're at night. You can see I've got all my guys in yellow. Honestly, one guy could have done that, 2 guys. I'd rather have extra guys out there. I've got 2 machines going on that and somebody out there knocking the webs down. The shorter time I am exposed to the public, the less likelihood I will have of having a conflict with the public. So get in and get out.
And you've got more eyes to watch out for.
More eyes. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to that. Now, the converse of that is, like I said, whenever you start dealing with extra people, if you don't keep them on task, they can start talking about the football game and start, slacking off a little bit. Ladders. We're going to get into ladder safety, and part of this is what OSHA says. Part of it's just good common sense, but OSHA's pretty specific on their ladders. That was a water tower that we did in 2017. That was a lot of fun, actually. Fun project. It was really fun watching the guys do the water tower. Ladders, and many of these are true OSHA rules on ladders. Always inspect your ladders before your use. Train your employees on proper ladder use. Broken, bent ladders have to be tagged out and removed from service. A ladder cannot be in service if it is broken. And what's broken? Broken means if it's slightly bent. Technically, how many of us have extension ladders where the rope's gone? That's a broken ladder. Replace that rope. Replace that pulley on there. If you've got a bend on the foot, cut it off, get new feet installed on there. OSHA does not like broken ladders at all. I have heard of this. I've heard contractors talking about it. Keeping the ladders in your shop, you've got your dead ladder pile because it's aluminum and you're going to get it recycled. That ladder should be chained up and not able to be used at all. I have heard of people, I've never verified this, I've heard people saying, well, I know a guy that got fined for having the ladder out there, and it really does make sense. So I've not, it's always a friend of a friend, so you're always a little bit skeptical about that, but it makes sense because their point was, if I can go grab a broken ladder and put it in service, it's not really tagged out. And somebody can put themselves at risk on that. Lock ladders to rack when transporting. This is not an OSHA rule. This is just a really good common sense rule. I was 6 years ago, 4 a.m. I'm doing some fountains at Clayman Plaza, and my hitch failed. And I had the unique experience. I went over this dip or raise up on the road, and thank God there was just nobody out there, and they only had one employee at the time. I was doing this by myself, but I'm like, oh crap, I feel it, oh crap, I just lost my trailer, I just lost my trailer. Yes, ma'am?
If Coke has papers for lunch still, they need to get those turned in and get the lunch papers, so we can have dinner time, and then I just put a card in this when I announce it.
Okay.
If they're in here.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So lunch paper, if you have papers for lunch, you're getting time to do that, so you need to get that in. And Jonathan K. Neiman, Absolute Detail. Drinks are on Jonathan.
Put my lunch on that one.
But and I'm going, okay, well, I got to say, and it's funny what went through my mind. You know, it was like what happened in a split second. I could literally hear it. You know, it seemed like forever in my mind. But I'm like, okay, I feel the safety chains. I feel the safety, and then I heard chink. And I'm like, there went one. And then I heard chink, there went the other. And I had the unique experience of having my trailer pass me and go right into a Scion. And it messed up my trailer, and it really messed up that Scion. But I watched my ladder, and it was, you know, it's like I'm slowing down, and you're just seeing this thing unfold as a slow-moving train wreck, you know, and you're like, oh God, oh God, oh God. I think it was 4 a.m. in the morning, it's totally dark, there's nobody out there, but I watched my ladder launch itself whenever it impacted that car. It snapped the bungee cords that it was on there with, and it just launched. That ladder would have been more dangerous than anything else on that trailer because it carried for 25 foot and it could have speared somebody. I like chains and locks on my ladders. I think it's a real good idea to have. Also, it's going to keep your ladder from getting stolen too. Ladder rating. Every ladder you use is going to have a panel on there that says the ladder of it. You should not exceed your ladder rating. Don't do that. Yeah. Spray wash.
Hustler, he's loyal.
Efficient to the point of stupid. Ladder angle. This is important. This is important. This is important. Important. You may see this again. Ladder angle 1 to 4. Bottom of ladder should be 1/4 of ladder's working length away from the base of the wall or the base of from whatever it is. 1/4 of the working length. So if my working length of the ladder, a 24-foot ladder on a 20-foot wall is not a 24-foot working length. That's a 20-foot. You know, if I have that ladder at 20 foot, it needs to be 1/4 of the way. So that's 5 foot, right? 5 foot. So the base of that ladder should be out 5 foot from the wall if I'm up at 20 foot.
Make sure you include the length of the eave.
Length of the eave?
Yeah, because the eave's like 2 feet,
right.
And you don't
right.
have that in.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I say, just right. I say wall. It should be from the point of contact on that. Otherwise, I mean, you're messing with your angle. Your ladder should be level at the bottom. Leveling ladders are great. I like those a great deal. Ladder, especially you guys live in North Carolina where there is like no flat land on anything. Florida's luckily pretty flat. Ladder rails should be square to the structure. Both rails should be, you know, touching that unless, you know, you've got some type of special brace on there. And even if it's a brace, it still should be square to the surface. Yes, sir.
I've heard guys thinking like if you're in a grassy area or a dirt area and you're on a hill and you're doing a house, to bury the cleats like in the ground instead of having them flat. Is that true?
I don't know. I mean, it makes a lot of sense because it's going to keep from a kick out. But I don't know if an inspector is going to have a problem with you not using the equipment the way it's designed. Guy, what you got?
If you'll notice on the bottom, the padded, you've got a padded area on the bottom of that ladder. Then you've got a perforated spike.
You got the spiky side on there, right? Yeah.
But that
Okay.
goes on the inside of the ladder, not the outside.
Put that into that spiky area. Sometimes if you're offset, you use a pad, and then you use the pad and then a spike system. It'll equalize that offset. But if OSHA comes up there, that might not be cool. But
You can also anchor the base where you like to use a crowbar.
Yeah, I'll show the crowbar here in a minute.
Or you can use one of those dog chain with those
Yep.
spikes and then use a ratchet strap to pull
Yeah.
that bottom of that ladder into the
Yeah,
ground.
a dog auger and a ratchet. So I had.
I used to work for a roofing company, and we actually had OSHA bond.
Hmm?
One situation where he's talking about, you can use the tip roof to eat, but they prefer actually a spike into the.
So you can use it. They prefer a spike into the. If the ladder is in front of a door, block off the door. I mean,
Yes,
It sounds, you know, but yeah, I mean, there's people getting knocked off ladders all the time. If you're in a high traffic area, you should barricade the base of the ladder so people don't trip over it. You should have 3 points of contact at all time on the ladder. 2 foot, 1 hand, 2 hands, 1 foot, but you should have 3 points of contact. So, you know, whenever you're walking up the ladder, there should be, you know, 3 places. You shouldn't necessarily be spraying, you know, standing up and spraying without holding on with your hand as well. You should not carry hand tools up the ladder. The official OSHA line is bring them up by rope after you're, you know, up there. Extend the ladder 3 foot past the gutter line or the roof line or wherever your point of contact is. Keep your body between the rails of the ladder. Here's one of those OSHA dualities we've talked about. OSHA says keep your body between the rails of the ladder. They also say extend 3 foot past the gutter or roof line. So if you're getting on a roof, there's no way to keep your body between those rails whenever you go out there. Is Dennis Sar, is he? He's around here. In fact, Paul's using some of his equipment for the demos. He's got a great pair of ladder extenders. Jim Bobs, what you got? Yeah, and I'm about to show y'all a picture of some here for those not familiar with it. And Dennis Sar, he usually keeps on his rig. He'll actually show them to you. But it fits over the end of the ladder, and it gives you a 3 foot extension on there, so you don't have to swing out to get up on the gutter line. You mentioned the crowbar. A crowbar and a sledgehammer. Put that crowbar over the bottom rung, pound it in. If you don't have somebody to foot your ladder, it's a handy little device. It really helps keep it secure. Watch out for, obviously, buried electric and water lines, because you don't want to add a sprinkler repair to this house washing. The flat bars work good too, because they're not typically as long as the crowbar. These are the ladder things that we were talking about. They just, you know, slip on the end of them, so you can right there, slip on over the end of it, to make your ladder on there. This was kind of interesting. That would scare the crap out of me, but you can buy those. Yeah, I could see you just spinning real easy on that. You know, if ladders are going to be installed for any kind of permanence, you're supposed to actually tie a ladder off. On a construction site, you'll see ladders tied off. Don't think it really applies to us since we're just there on a temporary usage, but I thought that was kind of funny.
When they don't have a stabilizer on it.
It doesn't have a stabilizer, and it's tied off to the gutter brackets on there, which gutters aren't necessarily structural. No, not necessarily. Gutters aren't structural at all. That's going to keep it from shifting a little bit. I mean, it's better than nothing, but I won't think I trust it still.
Keep the wind from blowing it over. That's about it.
Standoffs. If anybody hasn't used a standoff, these are what are considering standoffs. They really make your ladders nice and stable if you're not using it. They also make it very difficult to get off onto the roof at that point. So, but I love you know, spraying a roof from a stabilizer. Just makes it so much more stable.
Quick question, Ray.
Yes, sir.
You know, prior to this slide, you said we need to be 3 feet above point of contact. So technically, that bottom right picture would be incorrect.
Right.
Is that right?
No. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a unique specialty product on there. So, I mean, 3 foot past the point of contact, that's whenever you're getting off onto the roof.
No, I mean the other picture. The picture.
The one with the ladder max in the bottom right.
Yeah, that one's the bottom right.
That's if you're not getting on the roof.
You're going to actually get on the roof, but it's
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, if you're just working off the ladder, it doesn't have to be 3 foot. Yeah,
Okay.
but if you're accessing the roof, it has to be 3 foot. Yes, sir.
Yeah, if we drop it down 3 feet, all the stabilizers are.
Yeah.
So then it's 3 feet.
Yeah, and then you can get on. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, because if it's at the top, I mean, you've got this weird kickoff kind of thing going on there, and it's just it makes it real gorky and uncomfortable. I saw these. I thought these were kind of interesting. And these things are not, this is not a permanent ladder type anchor. I wouldn't say it's just going to help stop that little slippiness of the ladder. Because, you know, to me, you're working on something, you know, ladder's up against the metal flashing, and you got that little bit of a slidey thing going on up there. That's a clamp. It can go into the gutter. It can go onto some metal roofing on there on the edge. It's an adjustable clamp. It may help with a little bit of that sliding. I've also seen cork strips and foam strips stuck to the ladder, like some adhesive door jamb material, weather stripping. Put that on there. That foam will help with sliding on some metal flashing as well.
And stretching.
And it'll stop the scratching too, yeah. Roof safety. Golly, we're burning through time. Roof safety, metal roofs. Be safe on a roof. I mean, this is, you know, we talked about the tying off. You're supposed to tie off on roofs. Do I always? This is being recorded? Yes. There's no short time exemption on the roofs. I mean, I hear this all the time. Oh, well, you know, OSHA says if I'm up there for only... No, they don't. They say if you get on a roof, you're supposed to be tied off. If you're up there for an inspection purpose, you don't have to be tied off. Always be cognizant of hoses and your safety equipment on a roof, because your rope that you're tied off to can be a danger for you. Always know where your feet are whenever you're on the roof. Never walk backwards on a roof. Do not spray like this. Do not spray and walk like this. I've had plenty of people that have walked off roofs. Know when to say no. You do not have to put your life in danger for a customer. There are some jobs we should not take. Know those jobs. I love a good challenge, but I can't challenge myself if I'm in a wheelchair. Installing tie-off points. A lot of guys have actually made some extra income. Depends on your code. If you're going to have to be a roofer or not to do this, your municipality, you can actually install permanent anchors, D-rings onto a roof, upsell those. Spraying from a ladder versus spraying from a roof, that's always a debate amongst roof cleaners. I know I can work more efficiently from a roof. I can be on and off a roof in real short time. From a ladder, you know, it'd be real tough to spray a barrel tile roof from a ladder, because you're going to have, you know, any of the guys right here that do tile, you know, you spray the dang tile and you're like, man, that looks awesome, and then all of a sudden you walk to the other side and you're like, the face of every tile I've missed, because it skips over the barrel tiles. Again, watch out for your safety lines. Leave a point of exit to your ladder. If you're spraying from a roof, if you're spraying a roof out and you're on the roof, spray here, spray there. Now spray your way back to the ladder, because you see you can get trapped on a roof real easily. A metal roof, a tile roof, shingle's not so bad, but you get this thing soaked up, you get the bleach working on there, you've literally cut off your point of access. Buy a good harness. $99 jobs aren't comfortable. Some of my advice, and anybody else that spends their day in a $99 harness, a good harness is going to cost you, $150 to $300.
Ray, do you have any recommendations?
I like super safety anchor harnesses, because they're very comfortable. That's why that tell you has a little log on there to write on. It also has a safety yellow. It's got really nice the webbing on there. All the straps are body glove wetsuit material. Proper footwear. Cougar paws are great. Bullfrogs, that's Jason Wellman's, the KEC Shoes for Crews. They're great for wet metal roofs. Specific roofing shoes, work boots. Tim's not in here, but no Crocs. We have a little running joke about the Crocs. Crocs are not appropriate footwear for working on a roof. No sandals.
What?
Membrane roofs. Anybody ever clean a membrane roof? They get very slick. whenever you spray them down. And you see on this, I mean, there's no parapet wall on here. That's just an ice skating rink over to the side. But oh my God, they clean up so great. Love them. Metal roofs, another ice skating rink. Man, once a soapy metal roof gets soapy and that algae starts dying, I charge out the wazoo for metal roofs just because I feel they're dangerous. I was at the huge show last year and I was laughing because the guy sitting next to me, we were on an expert panel, and he was looking at had a scar right there, a pretty fresh wound, and he started laughing. He's like, you metal roof, what? And I was like, yeah. Fell, hit it was not a standing seam, but the kind with the bolts on there, and I hit the bolt on the way down and just, ripped a gash in there. And I was like, how'd you know? And he just laughed. He's like, showed me his left hand had literally the same wound on there. Metal roofs also, and this isn't a class about how to clean roofs, but always rinse metal roofs. I think that's one of the reasons they get so dangerous, because you spend so much more time up there. Asphalt shingles, by far my favorite roof to clean. Specialty tile, when we say tile roofs, there's lots of different tiles. FSU has a bunch of these tiles that are only about a 1/4 inch thick with a rib around the base of them. They are literally not walkable. They're just not. They're too thin to walk. The barrel tile, that's what I was talking about, this barrel tile. You spray everything from a ladder on this side of it, then you look back and everything's missed on that valley down in there. Asbestos, stay off of asbestos roofs. Spray them from the ladder, spray them from the ground. It's virtually impossible to find asbestos shingles if you crack them for replacement. They're very, very thin. And there's also always that cancer-causing aspect too. So stay away from asbestos. This is one of these where I would probably put a ladder stand off. Back in the day when I did this, I wasn't as smart as I am now. I would have put a ladder standoff on the house, or even sprayed that from a step ladder. These are some various different tie-off things we'll have on here. Roof anchors. This one is kind of cool. This is for standing seam roofs, and it's adjustable and it clamps onto the standing seams as an anchor point, a temporary anchor point.
Spreads out in between.
Yeah, you adjust that way and then clamps onto the seams itself. This is another one called Seam Safe, and as you can see, it clamps onto there and makes you a tie-off point.
How do you get it,
Seriously, no, that's a great question, Andy, because I don't know. Do you put one there and then hold on and then put another one? I don't know. But
How do you take it off when you're done?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm going to leave that one here today.
Can you go back one slide? I don't
Yeah.
mean to hold you up. The one on the left. As many people use them? Anybody?
A lot of guys that install those things. Yeah.
Now when you nail them in and you take it out, are you patching the nail holes?
You better.
I'm just saying, because some people tell me that the asphalt shingle, the nails are so small, the heat will actually close that back up. Okay.
I don't know. And the better ones of these, the ones the super safety anchor that they make, they actually have a rubber gasket on the back of these that you peel it off. It's a sticky rubber gasket, and you nail through that. And a lot of guys will leave them up there permanently. Because just a $30, $50 anchor, add it to the price, and Mr. Homeowner, we're going to put you an anchor up there. Now, that begs the question, does your municipality require you to be a licensed roofer to do that? I don't know. That's something you have to answer yourself. Okay, that's part of that roof bracket system we just showed you. Kind of cool. You can actually make scaffolding on metal roofs on that. So it's kind of neat. Lifts. Anybody work out of lifts a lot? Don't be scared of them. Lifts can really increase your profit margin out there. Sunbelt Rentals, United Rentals can train you on lifts. Whenever you go to rent one, say, I'd like to take a lift safety course. I want my guys trained on there. There's about three different kinds of lifts that we're going to primarily concern with, and I'm sorry I'm going fast, I'm running out of time. Towable boom lift, you can even rent these at a lot of Home Depots, 35 or 50. I've got one of these right now that I have for a month. Very, very useful thing, because you can tow it behind your truck. They're very maneuverable. 4 stout guys can push this thing into position. Relatively level ground to use it on, movable around a job site. They're affordable, anywhere from $300 to $400 a day, depending on where you're renting it from. Self-propelled, 45, I've seen 150s. I guess there's 185 too. In my market, a 135 runs you $2,000 a day. Yeah. At 85 though, will run you $1,200 a day, but $2,000 for a weekend. These guys have to get brought in on trailers. Most of us aren't pulling something. I'll have a gooseneck that we could bring it in on. Scissor lift. Scissor lift are extreme. You'll understand those things too are about 25,000 pounds or so. Those will eat sidewalks for lunch. Plywood your sidewalks off. Scissor lift, very stable. You're very limited in your range on that. But they're nice. They're skinny. They can get through little areas. Even those are somewhere between 4,000 to 6,000 pounds. But they typically have smooth tires. Sometimes you will see them with all-terrain tires on there. Believe it or not, you don't have to have a harness on a scissor lift. Mobile scaffolding is what it's declared, and you do not have to have a harness on there. My guys have to have a harness on there. It's company policy. Mini lift. We've rented these a couple of times for really poorly designed properties. If y'all can see that, I know it's a dark picture, but that thing will fit through a door. It's a one-man mini lift. It is like riding a piece of spaghetti. It's just one pole that goes up. Cranes, if anybody's ever done a crane job, crane and a man basket, actually a good crane operator, they are worth their weight in gold, and they can be matching your movements as you're applying on there and so fast. They're expensive, 100 to 350 per hour. Typically on the cranes, they start billing you the minute they leave their yard. And then every time you have to move a crane for a job, it's going to take about an hour to move it, and you're on the clock for that as well. Charge for them. And any of these jobs that you have where you need a lift, you need a crane, get a relationship with Sunbelt or United. Get an account rep out there. Go ahead and start a commercial account, whether you need it or not. Meet the guy. They'll come out there and walk it and say, all right, Ray, this is what you're going to need. You're going to need an 80, they'll shoot the levels for you. You're going to need an 85 foot for this and a 19 foot scissor lift for over here. And you can get their advice. Lift basics, always use your safety gear, harness and lanyard. Unlevel ground is very dangerous on there. Overhead power lines, pay attention to them. You're going to be working closer to overhead power lines. They will kill you. End of story. They will kill you. Never disable the sensors or the safety features on a lift. The death bounce is one, and this is why you put your harness on in your lift as soon as you get into the lift. Yeah, look on YouTube of lift accidents or funny lift things, but you extend your boom out. Everything, the further you get out on the lift, everything's amplified the further out you are. So you're propelling this lift along, and what might be a 6-inch movement up here at the base, it is going to be a 4-foot movement out there in the basket where you are. So it's much more pronounced. So I mean, imagine my elbow is the base of the table of it. And you see how the movement. My elbow isn't moving much at all, but look how much my hand is moving. So that's the death bounce, and you can get literally hurled out of a lift whenever you're driving it. It's very important to wear your harness at all times in the lift. Sway, The bigger the lift, the bigger the sway, and you're up at 85-foot extension and you're moving your lift over, you let off, the basket's going to continue to sway like this. That sway can be very pronounced, like 2 or 3 foot. And you pucker up whenever you're going into a plate glass window on your 6 stories up, and you're like, oh crap, but you just have to, you've got to get the feel of a lift. It's important to get some training on there. Property protection, we will get through this very quickly. Again, the property managers, the people that have had bad experiences, that have had property destroyed, mistreated, mishandled, they love it whenever you start talking about property protection. A lot of homeowners have had negative experience with power washers. Unfortunately, that's what the $49 crew tends to do a lot. They tend to skip a lot of corners and in and out, splash and dash, chuck in a truck. When we talk to these guys, and I like it as back to what I said earlier, we all spray the same bleach. You want $20 for it, you want $200 an hour for it. I'm a $200 an hour guy. And I'm telling these people, this is why I'm worth the $200 an hour. Areas of concern: locks, doors, plants, painted surfaces, furniture, metal, window screens, soffit and fascia, electric outlets and boxes. We see it all the time. Bleach is such a fantastic sanitizer and cleaner. I think one of the things we have where people don't get training on here and using it, they've sprayed off a soffit. They're like, man, look how clean that is. And it's done. And then I go to wash a house and I spray it and all the paint starts coming off on me. They've not rinsed that bleach off. Rinse the bleach off your metal. Just because the algae's dead does not mean it's clean. You've got to neutralize the bleach. Yes, sir?
Yeah.
Right? No. Something you don't want to break. Have y'all ever seen so many times fogged windows? It's from a guy with a pressure washer. Busted the seal on that. How many times have y'all seen window screens and it's white window screen and you get this metal at the bottom? Yeah, hot chemical will do that. You spray about a 20% mix on a window screen like that, an old oxidized window screen, you're going to turn them things silver. In case any of the newer guys have gone up to houses like, why are those window screens two-tone? That's why. Lifts are convenient, can cost thousands of dollars in damage. You can see here we've got plywood on this. That 85-foot lift is 25,000 pounds. That sidewalk is, I don't know, 4 inches thick, and there could be voids underneath it. Washouts from erosion. It's not going to meet, in the battle of concrete and lift is going to win every time. One of the things we do is on our plywood, that plywood, some of y'all see my videos on that. That plywood's 1.5 years old now. I've drilled it, I've got rope handles on that thing, so one guy can move my plywood. Let's see. Soap makes water wetter. Tim Hazelton taught me that. We had never met before. We had talked on the phone a couple of times. He told me that, and you know what we mean by that? Soap makes water wetter. It's the tension. The soap breaks the water tension. So if I take a pump-up sprayer and put bleach and water in it and spray it on a wall, you'll see the rivulets coming down, right? If I take soap, water, and bleach and spray it on a wall, you won't see as many rivulets coming down. It's broken the tension of that, and it's made it spread out. We can use less chemical. We can keep the water wetter longer so it's not drying as much. Good quality soaps are just essential to working more efficiently. Tim told me this after this. Because I called him up in a panic. That's at the Florida Archives. They keep like stuff from Pedro Menendez whenever he came over here. It has to be like in a real specific area, a real specific temperature range. And some of the vaults in there, and a lot of Florida history is there. And we were spraying, you can notice on the drip patterns on here, I did not spray this box. You can see the drips down here. I was spraying there. Water ran down, got behind that box, and blew it out. After I called, and then their diesel generator fired up. It was a really horrible day, and I had to change my shorts too because that was a very loud sound. And people are like, well, Ray, obviously you did it. Why didn't rain do that? The rain doesn't have soap in it.
Exactly.
You know, so that soap has let this water get places it would not get. If there was something I should have, you know, and now it is something we do. Oh,
The Lexel.
But the Lexel, I can't believe what the damn stuff in the room. No, it didn't. I recently found this Lexel. It's clear. It's not silicone. It's more of an adhesive. It's an elastic sealant. It sticks to wet surfaces. Because how many times are you spraying something and you notice like, oh crap, I need to take that off, but I've got just enough mist over there that I can't spray it now? Tape won't stick to it.
Right.
So this sticks to wet surfaces, and it's instantly waterproof. Lexel, $6 a tube. Go hit the tops of your panel boxes. Go hit, you know, whatever you have. Exterior outlets. Put tape on your exterior outlets, guys. And if it's a waterproof box, don't assume that it's waterproof. I see all the time, you know, the weatherproof boxes, and you grab them and they wiggle a little bit, or if you look down, those gaskets corrode in there, and water will go right down in there. Either tape it or a strip of this at the top. This is a little bit thinner than caulk too. It gets down, it drips down.
Where do you buy that at?
What's that?
I've never seen it.
Lowe's. I had nenever seen it either, and I'm really tickled with it. And you get a really nice buzz if you keep smelling it too. That's like the good old. It smells like modeling glue. Okay, and we're almost trying to apologize for going over. You know, I've got security cameras right there, taping up a door. Keyholes, tape them. You know, horrible. You know, I probably sound like I'm the worst freaking washer in the world because I'm telling you all these horrible things that have happened to me. You know, but again, it's my experience. Learn from what I've done. Don't do it yourself. One of the worst calls I ever got was, you know, a property manager. We had just finished up 270 units, and she's like, Ray, people are having a problem getting into their houses. And I'm like, huh. And I spent the rest of my night out there with WD-40 squirting locks. And my guys did not tape the locks on there. And I did have to pay for a couple of locksmiths too. Tape your locks, just tape them. There's an ATM, not ATM, but a depository vacuum sucky tubby thing here in the bottom. Yes, sir.
And when you tape up security cameras and lights like that, it's good to put a small hole in the bottom just in case you
to let it drain.
If water does find its way in, you're not going to notice it until you come walk underneath it, and it's now
a little drain hole in it.
Just put a small hole in it.
Absolutely.
What kind of tape is that?
I'll show, I got a picture of it here in one sec. I like the red duct. I like red tape because now whenever I'm walking around the property at the end, my guys can see it, what to get off. Security cameras like that we were talking about. One of my little secret weapons now has been this stuff. The moving wrap stuff. Oh my gosh, it makes protecting stuff so easy. You know, one hand, and you know, wrap that thing up. Cameras like this, the clamshell style camera for heavy duty security. The cameras in there cost about $1,300 a piece. Ask me how I know. That's supposed to be a waterproof case. Don't trust waterproof cases. You know, again, seals dry out. $8,500 job, but about $1,000 of it got sucked away. Because their camera should have been waterproof. And here you go. I can sit here and we can get into a great big pissing contest with that manager. I can say, well, you know what? Your camera wasn't waterproof, and it's supposed to be a waterproof camera, and by God, I shouldn't have to pay for that, and that's absolutely ridiculous. You can't make me pay for your piece of crap, faulty equipment. You're right. See ya. I've watched this building 3 times for $8,500 a piece each time. You know, it is what it is. It's why we work at. It's one of the reasons we work at a profit, because you will have accidents. Crap's going to happen to you. Work at a profit so you can pay for those accidents. Stucco poly tape. That's the tape that we like to use a lot whenever duct tape's not right. This stuff sticks to brick and masonry very well. It's a much more, it's like a vinyl tape. Something you'll notice on here, this is a stained door. And I put this picture here for a couple of reasons. One, he did not want his door touched. He had very expensive lights, and he's got a nice doorbell speaker system on there. So instead of individually taping that, took the sheet of plastic, draped off everything at one time.
Will that red tape take off like stucco paint?
No, that actually has a lot less residue than duct tape does. Oh, if you're using duct tape, go ahead and carry some goof off with you too, because it's going to leave a residue whenever you pull it off.
That was as well.
Yeah.
And right, why wouldn't you just use that instead of the duct tape?
Sometimes that doesn't like to stick to metal.
Hey, right.
Yes, sir.
Ceiling fans inside of screen porches.
Yes.
Guys, covering those up?
It should be. They should be waterproof if they're on a screen porch. I mean, it should be. You know, one of the ways to look at the ceiling fans, look at them, and if it's got the vents, air vents in it, then it's probably not a waterproof thing. You know, if it's a builder contractor grade new, it should be. You know, it shouldn't have passed inspection. What you have to worry about is the homeowner. You know, going to Walmart and getting a cheap interior ceiling fan out there and sticking that in. Landscape. You know, this guy's one of my competitors in Tallahassee. Just nuked this place. It was hilarious because he actually went to jail right after this, and we know the property manager, her boss hired him, and he's like, oh, this landscaping is dead and we cannot get a hold of him. And we're like, yeah, won't be for about 30 days either. But yeah, I mean, he just destroyed. He did not offer good property care on this. I mean, those were really mature azaleas and the whole way around the building. He sprayed that mess so hot, and this guy is really bad about getting kids out there, being with them for a week. They work for a week. All right, go out there and spray, and he never goes to the job sites, and they're spraying 50, 75%. But literally, he destroyed the bronzing on those frames. I have never seen that happen before, to actually rust off the bronzing. And it was from not rinsing. Conclusion, some key points. If you have employees, follow OSHA guidelines. If you don't have employees, follow OSHA guidelines. Rule of thumb, 5,000 pounds for tie-off points. Soap makes water wetter. Always plywood your sidewalks. Safety monitor on a roof may not be engaged in any other task. Employees must have access to SDS, safety data sheets. We used to call them MSDS, now they're SDS. Employees must be trained on PPE, personal protective equipment. There are 3 OSHA field offices in Florida. Ladder rule, quarter of the working distance. Do not overload ladder past work rating. 3 points of contact on a ladder at all times. I want to thank Power Wash Store for getting this space and hosting this event. Stop by and say thank you to Paul and Bill and all the individual Power Wash Store franchisees. They're getting out there trying to get one in your local areas. if you've not dealt with them, I love the guys. They're fantastic to work with. All of the franchisees, if you haven't noticed, they're all contractors too. It's not some guy that owns a parts store. It's some guy that is a working contractor, or guy and gal that's a working contractor. Let's see. And Spray Wash Academy, our website is spraywashacademy.com. Come train with us. My wife and I, Tim Hazelton, Doug Gore, a lot of y'all know him by Dougie Do. We offer classes in our Tallahassee location. We will be going off on the road some too, probably doing some soft wash classes, Florida, South Georgia. These are a per fee. This is a fee class. We've got a state-of-the-art training center. We take this mission very seriously. We want to provide a good value for your money on that, and we really like to help you guys. I'm going to, if you want to be certified, I have the tests up here. I'm going to stick them on this table right here. Come and pick one up. Take the test before this event is over. Go see our booth in the store. There's a black wire box. Put your test in there, and we will email you your certificate if you pass the test. So.
Do you notify OSHA of the results of that at all?
No. No. I mean, and my certification is because I'm a school. I'm certifying you, and I'm not certifying you that you're OSHA. I'm certifying you that I've taught you all the basics part of safety. Yes.
And then you pay attention and know what he said.
And and again, like I said to start with, as long as we can be more safe on there and keep ourselves safe, then my mission's right. I hope somebody's picked up some helpful stuff on this, but that's the important thing. You've got to make the decision of as a business owner how deep into the OSHA you go. But you know what? Let's make some money and be safe. Just act safe. And guys, thank y'all very much for your time. I know this has been a long class, but I appreciate it.